Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about refrigerant in HVAC systems, refrigeration systems in general. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Freon. One big notable thing I really want to discuss, because it is in the colder winter months now, and before we know it, springtime will be rolling in, and all them fly-by-nighters are coming out, man. They're going to start coming out, all these all the technicians that don't do such a decent job, a thorough job. There'll be a lot of quote-unquote seasonal charges going on. And I want to clear up a big misconception about, refrigerant, Freon in an actual system itself, and when to know if you have a leak, and when we need to start looking for this thing. So, majority of the times when we come out, say, on an HVAC system, I can't tell you over the course of 17 years that I've been doing this work, I hear the customers, they tell us, we'll get there. Oh, we had somebody else out here. They've been battling with it for years, and they just seem to keep wanting to sell me Freon, and it has become an issue to where we've gotten lazy. Technicians in general have gotten so lazy. And I'm not saying all technicians. I know a lot of good technicians. There's a lot of amazing technicians out there still. I'll put it to you this way. There's more good than there is bad. So we're still positive. But 90% of the time you hear, they just came out and they just charged it up. They didn't, what did they find the leak in it? No, they just charge it up several times a year. Okay, well, is there a reason why, they're just charging it? No, they just tell us that, it's got a leak and it's non-repairable, and, they just put Freon in it every year. Okay. There is such thing as a non-repairable leak. Most of your evaporators are non-repairable. Especially if they're on the metal, on the elbow, on the side of the evaporator where the galvanized metal meets the actual copper elbow. Even then, I've been able to repair those. A lot of them will have leaks inside the evaporator, right dead in the center, and you can fix those. I mean, you'll tear up part of the evaporator to do it, but it is possible to make repairs. But I want to talk about refrigerant, and it is one of the most sold things, that and capacitors. A lot of companies, and it may not be the company itself. It may just be the technicians. It may just be someone that's not supposed to be working on these things. They got a little bit of experience off YouTube, and then they think they're service techs. They'll come out and they'll look at a system without fully diagnosing the equipment, and they'll just gauge up to it and see, oh, well, it's an R22 system. I'm running, 40 PSI on suction. I'm going to dump some Freon in it. Without checking your filters, without checking to see if maybe, your filter dryer is plugged, without checking to see if your blower's not blowing, or if your blower ECM is not functioning correctly, if it's not at the correct speed, or your evaporator is 100% plugged. There's several things that could give you a low suction pressure in any kind of refrigeration system. We don't always, need to jump to refrigerant. So it's very important when we're out here working on this equipment that we're diagnosing it correctly. And what I mean by that is actually not standing there with your finger in your mouth going, it's low on charge. I'm going to go grab my Freon real quick. And I'm not going to weigh it in either. I'm just going to, gauge up to it and just dump it in and then write something on the invoice. No, we don't do stuff like that. Okay? A reputable service technician will go through that whole system. By the time he is done, he will know exactly what is wrong with that equipment. If by some chance, yes, he does have to put some Freon in that system, that technician is going to know about where that leak is. Because that technician is going to either run dye in the system. He's going to bubble check the system. He's going to leak check it with an electronic meter. If he's an old school tech, he might use a torch. That's how they used to do it back in the day. You know, they used a torch and the flame would turn a different color and etc. You know, but very, very seldomly will an actual reputable service technician just grab his gauges out of his van in a drum of, 410 or 22, just gauge up to the unit and just start dumping Freon in it until you get the correct pressure. But it happens. And I'm sorry to say that it does happen. It happens every single day. And unfortunately, it has become a real issue, especially for reputable service technicians. Sorry about that. My recording stopped, or it said that it stopped. I don't know why. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Apparently I had a phone call and my phone, it muted the camera. But anyway, no, like I was saying, it does happen. Unfortunately, it happens all too much. And it does start, it becomes a big issue, especially when that customer has had enough of it and that customer has to call in another company behind that company that has came in. And now a lot of times what we find is the system was never really undercharged. Now it's actually overcharged, and either the filter dryer is plugged, or the evaporator is completely plugged, or the air filters are completely plugged, or the customer might have accidentally double filtered the system without knowing that there's filters in the actual air handler or the package unit on the roof. So now we have to remove all the refrigerant out of the system. We have to weigh it out, find out how much overcharged it was. Then we have to weigh it all back in and to the correct amount that's factory on the actual data tag itself. So it does, and unfortunately, it's one of those things, we have to charge the customer. Now, yes, granted, reputable companies will, we do care about our customers, and we will help them out. But that is the dangers of just being Freon happy. Just dumping refrigerant into a system that probably does not need Freon in the first place. When we're coming up to a system, one thing to always note is this. Refrigerant itself, Freon, it does not evaporate, okay? As long as that system is sealed, that Freon will never go anywhere for the life of that equipment. And I've heard it. I've heard technicians say that, over time it just kind of just goes away. And it blows my mind that, they're out there telling customers this. And, with Freon prices the way they are, especially R22 right now, which is $1,300 plus a drum for 24 pounds of Freon, that's a lot of money. Especially if they're charging that customer, and of course with any company you go with, you're going to have a price markup. So that's why Freon is the most sold part on any company out there. They sell it. Either that or the technician's being dishonest and the company doesn't know about it, which is mostly what happens. Capacitors are a big thing. We come up to a system, we see a capacitor that's a little low. Capacitors are easy money. They're easy money for a non-reputable company. They're easy money for a dishonest company. And the reason why I say that is your average capacitor costs around between $5 to $7, depending on what size, what it is. And then they'll turn around and sell that capacitor for $50 or $60, which is ridiculous. Most of your markups are going to have a 30% markup price margin. And all that really is just, when we buy our parts wholesale from the parts houses. Basically, all that is we're getting 30% taken off of what we're paying for it anyway, and we're making that 30% versus what the parts house would charge you if you were to go in there and buy the actual part itself. But still, regardless of any of that, customers, be mindful if you have a company coming out and you start noticing there's Freon charges left and right every time they leave, they're dumping something in there. Question them. Did you find the leak? Why every time you're coming out here, you're charging something up and charging me $1,500 for Freon? Can we get a fix on this? Can we try to locate the leak? Fact is this, you got a little reach-in cooler that's, got a little bitty evaporator leak. You're dumping 404 in it 5 or 6 times a year. 2-3 years, you got your brand new equipment already. That's how much you've charged or paid another company to come out there and charge that system up. You add all the bills up, you could have had a brand new true unit. So just be mindful about refrigerant. Refrigerant is one of the biggest sold things. It's one of the biggest oversold items. I know I'm going to upset a lot of companies out there. I'm sorry, but you know what? This is a Christian channel. Honesty is the best deal, okay? If you don't know what you're doing, get out of the field. It's that simple, because you're going to end up hurting yourself. You're going to end up hurting somebody else. And morally, it's just wrong what you're doing. Not everything is a Freon charge, guys. Not everything. Some things, yes. And I'm not saying, you come out to a burnout. You're not supposed to recycle the Freon in a burnout. You're not supposed to reuse it. But I mean, you can recover clean Freon and put it back into a system. So just be mindful, please. Customers, people that are not service technicians, please be mindful, be vigilant. We need to, you guys need, and a lot of restaurant owners, y'all are already pretty much on top of things as it is. I know a lot of great customers here in Memphis, that just ask questions. You would think they were service techs. But anyway, I appreciate everything, guys. I wanted to say thank you too. We are now at 100 subscribers. Channel's growing slowly, but it is growing, and that is a good thing. So please, if you see the video, like the video, share the video, and please subscribe to the video. I do want to get out there. I want to start putting out more content. Help us grow. Love you. So does Jesus.